Well, welcome to a new Harry's Farm video, and all sorts of things going on the farm since you last visit when we were just putting the oilseed rape in. We have had a sort of 2-week gap with no particular rain. We'll go and have a look up the oilseed rape in a moment, but we're putting the other 50-acre block in at the moment behind me. We've been loading lorries, we've been cultivating like crazy, and there's a few other things to show you on the farm, but I'm just going to kick off with what's happening here. We're going in straight into stubble with this Claydon drill after wheat, and these fields I wasn't really expecting the drill to obviously rake, because you normally don't get wheat off in time, but this year we have. If you look here, this is what it looks like, and I haven't actually cultivated up. So this is the chopped straw stubble, and yesterday, when he came up yesterday, we were as dry as anything, but rain was forecast, and I thought, oh, I'll make the most of that. And then from nowhere we had 10 mil of rain yesterday. Complete surprise, a proper blob came over us and no one else, which is the first time it's really happened. And it was so wet yesterday that we couldn't start drilling. We've done it today, and I want to show you what it looks like after that Claydon drill's gone through. There are ways of putting oilseed rape into stubble, as it's termed, like this, and it's called direct drilling. And a direct drill tends to have a disc coulter that cuts a slot and it drops the seed into that slot. This Claydon drill is different. It cultivates the ground more. There's fixed legs, I've shown you before, and then you have this springtime seed comes out from that. Can it cope with this amount of sort of trash? Because this hasn't been baled. We're trying to incorporate the straw into the ground, and it looks very different. And frankly, it looks a bit of a mess. But what I like to see is the structure to the soil. There's crumb structure, as we term it. It's actually a nice tilth, and there's the seed. There you go, that blue seed. I don't know if I can do that again. Oilseed rape seed is impossible to find. Fortunately, the variety we're actually drilling in here is coloured blue. Fine, there's odd flashes of blue. There's a seed there, and there's another seed there and there. So it's in a tilth there, about an inch under the ground, and yeah, there is moisture here. It'll be very interesting to see how it goes, but the rolls are critical to seal this up. And the other thing that's really critical when you get a seed bed like this is slug pellets, because you're bound to have slugs. It's been so dry we've sort of forgotten about them, but there's eggs going to be in the ground and they will hatch with a little bit of moisture, and then they've got all this trash to eat as well. So I don't mind them eating the trash. I really don't want them to eat the oilseed rape as it comes up. But it's a real bit of a test, this. If this works, it's really quite cheap establishment. That is about it's £50 a hectare to put that in, so £20 an acre to have that machine come through, and then the seed is £70 a hectare, so £28 an acre to salvage. So £50 or thereabouts an acre cost to get it to this stage, and then a roll on top, about £3 a hectare in diesel, something like that. So quite a quick, easy operation. Anyway, so that's what's happening here. I'm going to leave Tom to it. We'll come back and have a look at that in a moment. Let's go up to the other farm where we put the oilseed rape in on the 17th of August and see what's come up. Right, this is the oilseed rape that we just put in the ground in the last video, and that was on the 17th of August. And in 2021, the oilseed rape was up within 3 days. This is 16 days it's been in the ground, and I can't see a thing. And I just can't work out what's going on here. What I can't see is whether it's actually germinated and died, because there's just been no rain since we put it in. We had a promise of 8 mil of rain a couple of days after this went in the ground, and it didn't come to fruition. We actually got 1 mil. We then a week later had 2 mil of rain, so a total of 3 mil has fallen on here up until last night when 10 mil arrived, and that hasn't really germed. But there weren't any volunteers shown here. It's the first time I've seen it since the rain, and we do seem to have volunteer barley. So that's the barley that came out of the back of the combine. That is starting to appear, and because it wasn't there before, I have a 50-50 hope that actually the oilseed rape is still, there's an oilseed rape, there it is, there's a plant, thank you. Let's have a look where he's come up from. Let's just see if we can have a little dig around, because I think he's quite deep. There he is. It's so precious, I might have to plant him again. Look at that, the amount of root it's put down. That's 16 days that's been in the ground, and it's a very healthy oilseed rape. And the other thing I really like to see, there's no nibbles on it. It hasn't actually, there's no cabbage stem flea beetle. It's so precious this year, I'm going to put him back. So I feel like Gardener's World here, trying to put an oilseed rape plant back, but there we are. Can I see another? Probably not. Yeah, I'm going to just cross my fingers and just hope this is going to grow up here. And you can sort of see there's less trash out here. So this was barley in here, and then we baled it, had all the straw baled. So there's much less straw trash around, and then we've rolled it. And this is the normal way of doing it. The other fields, that's a high risk strategy because I've got all the wheat straw there to incorporate. It's an unplanned oilseed rape crop, but because you had such an early harvest, I'm taking a slight risk and putting it in the ground. I'm now fascinated because I found an oilseed rape growing. Can I see another one? I'm going to be out here on a daily basis checking, which farmers do. You see me crawling around this field on my hands and knees. Now you know why. No, that's a weed. Oh, there's one. I've seen another one. Now that one has been eaten. So that's what I'm afraid of, is what is eating that. Because as soon as it comes through the ground with such a low population, yeah, you see that one's been eaten as well. That is potentially cabbage stem flea beetle, and we've sort of taken the decision not to actually do anything about it. It could be slugs, worryingly, but I have put slug pellets down. It's just whether I can see any other slug. There's no other slug activity. Yeah, I'm going to have to keep an eye on this to see if it's going to pull through. The jury is very definitely out of whether this oilseed rape is going to make a crop. And it's, yeah, welcome to farming when you have such unpredictable rainfall. Because as I say, if I'd moved the farm 2 miles up that way, they had 30 mil when we had 10 mil, and that would have made all the difference. Is there any more down here? Oh, there's another one. Oh, that one hasn't been eaten either. Oh, I like this. Right, anyway, enough of Hunt, the oilseed rape plant. Let's go back to the farm, see what else has been going on. Just before we go and have a look at what we've been doing there, wanted to show you this. Look at the blackberries this year. They've gone crazy. And you just think with all this dry weather, you'd think they would really suffer. But no, for some reason, like the grass is all dead, but the blackberries, we've never had as good a season on them. Oh, great, sweet, lovely. Look at them. Absolutely everywhere. And we can't quite understand why the birds haven't had them, or the wasps or something. Something very peculiar about 2022. Fantastic blackberry year. Now, here's the fields, and you think, what's going on here? Well, this is where we've come in with the cultivator, with that carrier, and you can sort of see the patterns here. It looks like a striped lawn in the background. And I've explained this before, that's the guidance on all modern tractors. You just press a button and it absolutely locks on to satellites, and it goes dead straight to the other end of the field, and you turn around and do it again. And it means you have no overlapping. If your cultivator is 5.28 metres wide, you cultivate 5.28 metres every single time you go down the field. Work rate goes up, it's hugely satisfying. And this is the result. What we're trying to do, again, no baling this year, so all this straw to incorporate. It's been bone dry. It feels very odd that it's now not bone dry because we had this rain yesterday, but we've just incorporated the first half an inch of the topsoil, and that is to get a little bit of microbe activity on the straw to start breaking that down, and also to germinate any weed seeds that are going to be on this top surface. And we just leave this now. This was a first wheat, and it's going into a second wheat. And we won't even think about planting that wheat until 7th, 10th of October. So 2nd of September today. This has got a month to sit here, grow some weeds, incorporate that straw, break it down, and then we're going probably with glyphosate, take it out, or we might cultivate it rather than using glyphosate. Just depends how much weed activity there's been. But yeah, that's a whole farm is now done. It's what we've been busy doing. And it's been a very dry year, but the machine has done, I think we're just getting this more tilth in the soil. It's done really quite a good job despite it being super dry. Now, that's the field activity. I just want to show you what's been going on in the grain shed, because we've been very busy moving grain over the last couple of weeks. Well, this is the grain shed, and yeah, there's a lot of wheat gone out here. If you remember when we finished harvest, it was somewhere here. And this is the result of, I think it's 330 tonnes we've loaded out of here. And normally, to load a lorry, I'm 15, 17 buckets with this bucket, just over 2 tonnes. This year, because of this spec weight, this high density of the wheat this year, I mean, it's really good quality wheat. It's been 12 buckets. Some lorries can't even get 12 buckets on. They've been around the 11.5 tonnes, and oh, stop, we're at 29.5 tonnes. And easy 2.5 tonnes per bucket, which has been making the Manitou, the loader, really think about it. And sort of when you go into the heap and you try and crowd back and fill the bucket, and the back end of the Manitou goes skyward, so you suddenly got to tip a little bit out and just level it out before leaving the shed, popping it on the lorry. But I love having just 12 buckets to fill a lorry, and it means I can count the buckets, because I do 3 across the front, and so it's in multiples of 3, and I can actually keep count as you load a lorry, which anybody who loads lorries will know all about. And the other thing we're normally doing this time of year is dressing out the seed from this wheat we've grown on the farm. We've done it, I think it's 3, possibly 4 years on the trot now, growing this Skyfall wheat. But this year we're dropping. So the last year we'll grow Skyfall because it's broken down. If you remember, we had that yellow rust on the wheat. It just has succumbed to yellow rust in such a way you've got a very high spend on fungicides to get the yield. And there are other varieties I can grow with nothing like the spend on fungicides, and that's going to save me sort of 150, 160 pounds a hectare purely on fungicides. So for the last time, we're going to drop Skyfall and move to a new wheat for next year. Anyway, let's go and see how he's getting on down the field, how much more obviously rape's gone in the ground. It's amazing to think that we can actually put seed into a sort of crop like this stubble, all this straw here. And when I was at college, you would never have dreamt of doing this. You automatically plough to get a perfectly clean seed bed. But with these new tine drills and then the new direct drills, it's really opened up this possibility of incorporating the straw into the seed bed. And we discovered basically soil health is better if you're not inverting the soil. Ploughing is almost just only the organic farmers are doing it, because that's their only way of weed control, is by inverting it and getting rid of the weeds and pushing them underground. Here, it's all about soil health, incorporating this trash to increase the organic matter in the soil. And we also discovered that worms don't like their world being turned upside down every year. So anyway, that's what's going on here. He'll quickly finish this. It's quite a small field, this one. That's why he's dashing up and down. Really easy working soil in here. No real clay content, so this is a good tilth. That's all I'm after, is the seed in a covered tilth. That's what we're looking for, just in that tilth, as you can see it there. I think it's 2.66 kilos per hectare is what that drill is metering out. Impossibly accurate. And I like this seed a lot better than the first stuff we drilled, because it's bright blue and I can find it. I think that's all for this Harry's farm, because I want to get out here and get this sorted. I haven't touched on the Defender. Obviously that goes back next week. We've had it 12 months, but I'm going to do a dedicated video running the Defender on the farm for a year. And the other thing that's happening, I had a call this morning, the solar panels that I ordered up in February are arriving in 10 days time, 12th of September. So I'll go into the ins and outs of having that fitted on the grain sheds. We're doing it there. We're actually having a ground-based system also for the house. So I'll go into that. But yeah, it's good to be back drilling. It's really good to have some moisture. And looking at the weather forecast, we've got rain almost every day next week. So hopefully this oilseed rate will be up in a few days and will not wait 16, 18 days like the lot that we drilled on the 17th of August. So I hope you enjoyed this video. If you have, keep watching, keep subscribing. Thank you for getting us over 100,000 subscribers. There'll be more videos coming along very soon.